Check one. Check one, two. Check, 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 check. Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I'm so glad that you're joining us this morning. It is nasty on the roads this morning, so please keep that in mind. You may want to check your school, business, organization at a time to make sure that they're open, because there are a lot of cancellations and at least a lot of 2-hour delays. So the roads right now, pretty uncomfortable to drive on. So please be careful if you must go out. Hey, on today's broadcast, we have a busy show. We've got double guests because I missed yesterday. Tom Sharp from Mannheim Steamrollers going to be joining us in the 6 o'clock hour. Then in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Corning Painted Post High School Drama Club about their upcoming production. So make sure that you stay tuned for the full 2 hours. All right, starting with a viewer comment. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. One of our own has passed, former Schuyler County Sheriff Bill Yesman. He served many years. May he rest in peace. Yes, I saw that breaking story. Thank you for passing that along, Mark. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Okay. Boy, we have a lot to get to breaking news-wise. Trying to catch up after, 5-6 days? Nearly impossible, but let's try. A federal appeals court has upheld a decision disqualifying Alina Habba, President Donald Trump's former personal attorney, for continuing to serve as acting U.S. attorney for New Jersey. Habba, who Trump selected, to serve as counselor to the president in December of 2024 before he elevated her to New Jersey's top prosecutor role in March, was voted out of the position in July after district court judges decided to replace her with her chief deputy as her 120-day interim period came to a close. The Department of Justice fired Habba's replacement, Desiree Grace, just hours after the district judges voted her in. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi then installed Habba in Grace's former chief deputy role, giving her acting control of the office once again as there was still no one serving as the state's U.S. attorney. I feel my chair is sinking. Excuse me. Let me sit up here. Monday's unanimous decision was made by a three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, who ruled against the DOJ's effort to appeal U.S. District Judge Matthew Braun's August decision. Are you following all this? That Haba was not lawfully appointed to the U.S. attorney position. Braun issued his ruling after two New Jersey criminal defendants challenged Haba's appointment in court, calling it unconstitutional. The appeals court panel agreed with Braun and the defendants on Haba's appointment, but did not dismiss their criminal cases, according to the Washington Post. It's apparent that the current administration has been frustrated by some of the legal and political barriers to getting its appointees in place, said Judge Michael Fisher. Its efforts to elevate its preferred candidate for U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, to the role of acting U.S. Attorney demonstrates the difficulties it has faced, yet the citizens of New Jersey and the loyal employees in the U.S. Attorney's Office deserve some clarity and stability. The Trump administration has attempted to keep Habba in the role despite her lack of confirmation from the U.S. Senate, which has failed due to the chamber's tradition of getting blue slips from her state senators, Cory Booker and Andy Kim, both Democrats, who have refused to support her nomination. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley has not moved forward with the nomination because Booker and Kim will not turn over their blue slips, garnering anger from both Habba and Trump. Chuck Grassley, who I got reelected to the U.S. Senate when he was down by a lot in the great state of Iowa, could solve the blue slip problem we are having with respect to the appointment of highly qualified judges and U.S. attorneys with a mere flick of the pen, Trump wrote in July. Pardon me. Habba argued that Grassley is doing a disservice by holding up her confirmation process, saying, Number one, I was the nominee to become the U.S. attorney, and Cory Booker and Andy Kim, who I have never to this day spoken to in my life, despite my attempts to meet them, have truly done us a disservice. And frankly, same with Senator Grassley, by holding up a traditional blue slip, not a law, and not allowing a lot of the president's picks to go through and be voted on by the Senate. I didn't even get to that point, she said. The legality of Habba's appointment and whether it violates the Federal Vacancies Reform Act will now likely be settled by the Supreme Court, according to the Washington Post. Habba has not yet made a public statement on the latest decision. So that's breaking news coming in from yesterday. We also learned, how am I doing on time here? Oh, I'm doing good. Wow, there's a lot of people out for such a snowy day. Please, again, be careful if you are just waking up. Go ahead and look out the window. You'll see the roof cam here in just a moment. Yes, my chair is shrinking down for some reason. The White House doctor did release the results of Trump's preventative MRI after weeks of speculation, declaring President Trump to be in excellent overall health. Presidential physician Dr. Sean Barbello released a memo describing the October exam as standard and its findings as perfectly normal. Quote, as part of President Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure he maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging is perfectly normal, it is reported. The doctor added there is no evidence of arterial narrowing, impairing the blood flow, or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation, or clotting. Overall, sorry, this one got cut off. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. Trump let slip on October 27th that he had undergone the MRI during a checkup at Walter Reed, saying the procedure was perfect, prompting weeks of follow-up questions from journalists. The MRI was not mentioned on an initial White House readout of his annual physical. The imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning with normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. Summary, This level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health. Trump on July 17th was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. Yeah, I'm trying to go difficult this morning. This snowy morning as we're all running late anyway. A blood circulation issue after noticing mild swelling in his lower legs. Now this, we've talked about this on the program before, but it is shocking to see the media cover President Trump's health in ways that you would think, well, honestly, that they were describing Biden, when for 4 years we know that they ignored Biden. We've got the snowplow going by, ignored any health issues with Biden. And now they're watching laser-like. Again, one of the reasons why the mainstream media has lost all of its credibility, because of stories like that, not that one specifically, but the stories speculating about Trump's health, saying, Carolyn Levitt blasted the New York Times for it yesterday, I believe it was. Carolyn Levitt blasted a New York Times reporter over a story she co-authored last week, painting President Trump as a man in decline. The article described Trump appearing to nod off in the Oval Office and claimed that the 47th president has fewer public events on his busy schedule than he did in his first term. Carolyn Levitt said, "I will point out one fake news story over the weekend before I let you all go from the New York Times that took about 1/3 of the president's daily calendar and his daily schedule and said that he's doing less than he did in his first term, or he might not be fit for the job. This is unequivocally false, and it's deeply unfortunate that this story was written by the same outlet and the same reporter who wrote this. Quote, Biden is doing 100% fine after tripping while boarding Air Force One. Oh, the same outlet, same reporter who wrote that President Trump is not fit for the job. Are you kidding me? The piece about former President Joe Biden doing 100% fine after he stumbled while boarding Air Force One back in 2021 was a general write-up of a spokesperson claiming the then president was doing okay after tripping. The piece did not opine on Biden's condition. Notably, the reporter in question, the New York Times' Katie Rogers, also co-wrote a July 2024 piece titled Biden's Lapses Are Said to Be Increasingly Common and Worrisome. In that story, which was published days after Biden's fumbling debate performance, and that's the importance of talking about the time frame, because after the debate performance, obviously the media had no choice but to report on it. That's when the actual reporting began. Rogers and several other reporters detailed how confidants around the 46th president noticed him being increasingly confused and showing signs of age. By that point, much of the mainstream media had begun aggressively covering Biden's mental acuity. Though in the run-up to the fateful debate, the Biden campaign had privately raged against the New York Times over its coverage of his age and abysmal pollings, according to Politico. Biden, 83, is the oldest man to serve as president, though Trump will take the record if he serves out a full term. Trump has fumed at Rogers over the story, panning her as third-rate and ugly both inside and out. You all see him almost every single day. He is the most accessible president in history. He is taking meetings around the clock, Levitt further chided. She pointed to another piece Rogers co-wrote titled Biden Declared Healthy and Vigorous After His First Presidential Physical. On Monday, the White House released a memo on the MRI, as I mentioned. But to see the difference in coverage when you have, I mean, there's no denying it. That's why I'm glad Carolyn Levitt calling it unequivocally false. But to suggest that they even covered Biden's health at all, really, if you had any questions about it, if a conservative outlet, for instance, went out and said that, boy, he doesn't seem to be as good as he once was. He seems to be fumbling a lot. He seems to be forgetting a lot of what he said. He gets lost. If that was said, the mainstream media came out and attacked that person as conspiratorial and hateful. But now the coverage is completely different when it comes to President Trump. Now it is looked at through a fine-tooth comb, and they're suggesting, even though we see his schedule, we see how many events he's at, we see how many things he does, to the point that it exhausts us from just seeing his schedule, and to suggest that there was some type of concern because it's not as busy potentially as his first term, which I think maybe you can take one day and compare it to his busiest day, maybe, from his first term. But I don't think anybody can deny how busy, how constant he is with. They even say, that's what I find these reports so interesting, because reporters don't even like being on Air Force One with him because he's always awake. He's always taking questions, always making news on Air Force One. So they don't like the assignment because they get no sleep, and it's too exhaustive for them, the younger reporters. But then in the same breath, you'll have reporters who will question his health, question his overall health, mental acuity, everything. All right, we got to take a short break. I got to fix my chair. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me, to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
An Albany buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition. Severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
There have always been a few, ready to fight and win. Since 1775, these few have been Marines, and they come from across this land to defend the future of our nation. This year, our Corps celebrates 250 years, and Marines are proud to serve this country, each other, and all that is still to come for America.
Kids aren't only ones drowning in social media, but teens are definitely the most attached to their phones, which is not all good. Kids who spend too much time texting and posting are more likely to feel isolated and depressed. No one is saying throw your phone away, but once in a while, try actually calling somebody. Talking is even more social than social media. For more clues on how to clear your head and brighten your outlook, try visiting one more site. Your life.
As you can see, please be careful on your way into anywhere that you're going. You may want to call ahead of time to find out if your school, your organization, your business is open. Because as you see, this is the kind of day to stay in. Sit back, relax, and watch Frankly Speaking. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Comment from a viewer: morning, did Hegseth really say kill them all? That's a good question. What did I see reporting on that? I know, well, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. According to the Washington Post, during the first U.S. strike on a boat in the Caribbean in September, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave the directive to kill them all, according to people with direct knowledge of the operation. So there is take that with a grain of salt, but that is what is being reported. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, tying in, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem proposed a full travel ban Monday on unnamed countries flooding the U.S. with dangerous migrants after meeting with President Trump. I just met with the president. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every darn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. That was her post on X. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and tears, blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom, not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. A DHS spokesperson told the Post a list of nations affected by the proposed travel ban would be announced soon. The recommendation is the latest step from the Trump administration to reduce the flow of foreign nationals into the U.S. in the wake of last week's Thanksgiving Eve attack on 2 West Virginia National Guards members in Washington, D.C. The administration has previously announced that it would halt all asylum decisions and re-examine more than 720,000 green card holders from 19 countries of concern. And that is after Ramanullah Lakanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan national, allegedly gunned down Sarah Beckstrom, 20, and quickly injured Andrew Wolf, 24, near the White House. The State Department has also paused visa issuances for individuals traveling on Afghan passports in response to the horrific attack. Lakanwal, a former member of a CIA-backed Afghan military unit that fought the Taliban, entered the U.S. legally in 2021 under the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome Home, which evacuated and resettled refugees after the botched U.S. withdrawal from the Middle Eastern country. The alleged gunman was granted asylum in April, which made him eligible for a green card after 12 months. The suspect who shot our brave National Guardsman is an Afghan national who is one of the many unvetted mass paroled in the United States under Operation Allies Welcome on September 8th, 2021, under the Biden administration. I will not utter this depraved individual's name. He should be starved of the glory he so desperately wants, said Noem. So again, Kristi Noem not pulling any punches. Saying I am recommending a full travel ban on every darn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. There you are. Okay, about Pete Hegseth. Let's talk about Hegseth. I know we have so much to cover. And as I said, we've got 2 guests on the program this morning, so I'm not sure how much we'll be getting to. You know what? Let's talk about Hegseth when we come back from commercial break. We do have a couple New York State issues, a couple of things here about the Democrat Party. As predicted, they're really starting the process of fawning over Gavin Newsom, especially those in Hollywood. We'll talk a little bit about that. And that upcoming, the special election that is today, the Tennessee election, which is a very big, it is a very big election. Even President Trump admitting that, saying that it's going to be kind of a judgment on him, on the job that the Republicans are doing. Right now, it is too close to call, but it looks as if Democrats could have it, so we'll talk about that as well. But let's take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
An albino baby buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day 1 of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
At Penn State Wrestling, we reach excellence and try and strive every single day to be better than we were the last. It's very clearly resembled here.
It's Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships. We're a family.
I can tell he's a wrestler and he supports us. I'm really grateful for that.
You've got to repeat the process so many times to get it right. But once you get it right, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it the same way every time, every day without fail. No exceptions. It's like wrestling. The good wrestlers, they really practice hard and work hard.
Blaze Alexander, where champions strive.
Serving overseas in 2007, Staff Sergeant Mark Lawley's helicopter went down in a life-altering crash.
I had to relearn how to speak, how to eat, how to walk.
Wounded Warrior Project was there for support.
One of the first events with Wounded Warrior Project that I was involved with, I met my future wife.
When he told me he was going to walk down the aisle, it made me feel special and flattered.
I'm so thankful Wounded Warrior Project gave me a life worth.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Yep, that's what it looks like out there. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Coming up, in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to be talking with Tom Sharp from Mannheim Steamrollers. They are going to be at the Clemens Center. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll be talking with Corning Painted Post High School and their drama club about an upcoming production. So you don't want to miss that. On tomorrow's broadcast, we'll be talking with Wade Jennings, Waylon Jennings' grandson. We got a few others lined up after that as well. So make sure that you tune in all week. All right, let's get back to it. As was asked by a viewer, the White House said that the Pentagon authorized a second lethal military strike against an alleged Venezuelan drug boat and insisted the double attack in September was legal. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said Secretary of War Pete Hegseth authorized Admiral Frank Bradley to order the follow-up strike on the suspected drug trafficking boat after 2 people survived the first attack. President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Bradley, head of the U.S. Special Operations Command, worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the... I think that's got to be to ensure that the boat was destroyed, right? And the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. The comments came after the Washington Post reported Friday that a Joint Special Operations Command commander ordered a second airstrike on a speedboat carrying 11 suspected Tre de Aruga narco-terrorists September 2nd, after the first strike left 2 people clinging to the wreckage. The double strike happened because of a verbal directive from Hegseth. Quote, the order was to kill everybody, the paper reported. That's in reference to that viewer. A second strike to finish off the pair in lieu of aid and arrest could be considered a war crime under international law, but the Trump administration is standing by claims that the second strike was warranted for self-defense. These strikes conducted on September 2nd was conducted in self-defense to protect Americans and vital United States interests, Leavitt said. The strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict. Leavitt later added one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place, knowing that Trump has designated Nicolas Maduro's narco-terrorists, such as Tre de Aruga, as foreign terror organizations, giving the U.S. military the legal authority to blast the drug boats out of the water. The president has a right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they're bringing illegal narcotics that are killing our citizens at a record rate, which is what they are doing. Her comments come after President Trump on Sunday said he did not believe the Washington Post report that Hegseth ordered that no survivors be left from the September strike. Quote, Pete said he did not order the death of these 2 men, and I believe him. The president went on to say that we wouldn't have wanted that, not a second strike, but that the administration would look into the issue. He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%. Now, because of this and because of the reporting, a lot of people are calling for Pete Hegseth to lose his job. They're doing this, and it's kind of interesting because we know in the past that Trump did fire a lot of people, kind of known for it, right? But now we're seeing a scenario where most people, I mean, here we are almost a year in, most people still in their original positions, but this has been an excuse for the mainstream media to call for Pete Hegseth to resign or to be fired from his job, that because there has been this and a couple other, I don't know, I guess you could call slip-ups by Pete Hegseth, or at least that's what the media would define them as. Others would say he's doing a great job. So this is where we're at. So I know it gets very frustrating when you watch the coverage to see where the attacks on Pete Hegseth are coming from. Senator Mark Kelly, who's been loving the attention lately, right? He reacted to the White House confirming that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth authorized a follow-up strike on an alleged drug boat, saying it's incompetence at the highest level. Jake Tapper asked Kelly, they confirmed the double tap strike today, the White House, even though 2 days ago Sean Parnell at the Pentagon was saying the entire story was fabricated, made up out of whole cloth. It seems as though they're saying that Hegseth gave the order to kill everyone on board a lethal strike and that Admiral Mitch Bradley was in charge. He's the head of Special Forces, and he is the one that gave the order for the second strike, the double tap on the survivors that were there. Who is ultimately responsible if there is something wrong with the double tap strike with the second strike? Senator Mark Kelly said, I think it's going to be really important for my committee, the Armed Services Committee that I sit on, the same thing in the House, to get these people in the room and get testimony from them under oath. Maybe part of it in a skiff and in a secure facility, and part of it publicly, to get what the exact real story is. I think this is what happens when you put an incompetent individual in perhaps the second most important job in our country, the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth had no business being nominated. Republicans in the Senate should not have confirmed him. He's been there for less than a year now, maybe 7 or 8 months. This is the result of incompetence at the highest level. Senator, we got some comments coming in, some waves coming in. Be careful out there, everybody. If you must go out, please be extra safe. Okay, just watching everybody kind of sledding as they drive down Marcus Street. Okay. How are we doing on time? Good. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island, Democrat from Rhode Island, was on MS Now's The Last Word. Lawrence O'Donnell said, what do you see in this? At this point, is it possible to commit a war crime if there isn't a war? What do you call it when there isn't a war? Whitehouse said, yes, the common word would be murderer. I don't know enough about the circumstances to, make a final legal determination, but for Pete's sake, you've got people whose boat has been blown up. Whatever they were doing has now ended in an explosion on the water, and now you have 2 survivors in the water. Even when you are at war, a decent nation goes and rescues the survivors, and then treats them as prisoners of war, even in a war situation. In this case, to make a Hollywood reference, when the bad guys are machine gunning the survivors in the water, it's not Americans in the movies, it's the bad guys. And we're on the wrong side of this if we're blowing up survivors in the water rather than trying to send rescue. So that is a little bit of an update, and I know people are asking more. If you, for instance, during break, I looked up Pete Hegseth, and every article is White House distances Hegseth from second strike. Where was it? Where was the other one that I was looking at earlier? He must go. That's good. My computer is just freezing up. Where was it? Anyway, so that's your quick update on that. When we come back, we're going to read some of your comments. Also, as I mentioned, coming up here in just a little bit, Tom Sharp from Mannheim Steamrollers will be joining us. I know a lot of people are big fans of that with the Christmas season. So let me see. I want to get you the exact dates. So he'll be joining us, Tom Sharp, in about 10 minutes. And that is at the Clemens Center on December 3rd. Also, in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Corning Painting Post High School Drama Club. They are holding Irvin Berlin's White Christmas the Musical, and that is being held December 4th through the 6th at 7 p.m. and December 7th at 2 p.m. at Corning Painting Post High School Theater. Tickets $10 pre-sale or $10 cash. Check at the door. All right, there you go. Let's take a short break. We will be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
10 p.m. somewhere. Do you know what your kids are doing online? Brought to you by Ferrario Jeep.
What level life jacket should you wear when you're far from shore?
Level 100.
Bingo. Now, what's the most comfortable type of life jacket to wear if you're just chilling close to the shore?
Level 70.
Great. Last question. Before leaving the shore, make sure your boat has enough life jackets for
everyone.
You're the best.
You're what Big Fox. WYDC.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Look at that beautiful view. Makes you think of Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, here's my segue to our Salvation Army Telethon coming up on December 12th. We're talking about all these fun, festive events coming up, whether it's Corning Painted Post Drama Club, whether it's Tom Sharp or the Mannheim Steamrollers. Well, it's starting to come together really good. Our Salvation Army Telethon is on December 12th. Now, we have a very generous viewer, Frankly Speaking, who is going to donate matching up to $6,000. So and we've got a lot of checks already, so thank you very much. But let's say you normally donate $100, let's say, to the Salvation Army. If you do it before the telethon, that $100 will be more like you're giving, $200. So, again, why am I telling you all this and not putting it up on the screen? There's some ways that you can give to the Salvation Army Telethon. And again, there's a need out there, folks. And that money is going to go to a lot of good in our area. So I really appreciate it. You can always stop by the studios, drop it off as well if that is easier. All right, comments from a couple of viewers. I'll leave that up on the screen to just make sure that you have an opportunity to write it all down or go to that website. Good morning, Frank. Thank you for letting me know about the voting. I didn't hear about it until my friend let me know. I'm going to spread the word because that's Jack the Sticker Guy, and he's back in Tennessee. Well, I'm glad you made it safe. And yes, spread the word. It's a big one. We're going to get to that next, as a matter of fact. Comment from a different viewer. The drug runners were not going to be rescued and would have drowned anyway. Thank you very much. That is the big quote-unquote scandal in the news today. But they've been calling for Pete Hegseth. There's been an immense hatred for Pete Hegseth right from the jump. They wanted him gone. They don't think he's qualified. So it really comes as no surprise they're going to try to latch on to anything. Now, the president's saying that Pete Hegseth said that he never said that. We will, I'm sure, be told what happened, but we'll see what that means for Pete Hegseth. We'll see what that means for his future. Well, whatever you think of the situation, just the calls for his ouster by so many. We'll see if the president stands behind him. Now, when we were talking about that election, President Trump acknowledged that the Tennessee congressional contest between Republican Matt Van Epps and Democrat Afton Ben, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all, is a, quote, big thing that will reflect on him and the entire GOP. This is a big thing, Trump said, of the special election to fill the vacancy left in Tennessee's 7th district by former Representative Mark Green. So that special election is today. They say it's a sign of how we are doing, the president added in remarks made during a tele-rally for Van Epps. Trump, who beat former Vice President Kamala Harris in that district by 22 points, argued that he'll get bad press if Van Epps doesn't win by a substantial margin. He's not wrong. If the Democrat wins, they'll say it's all over in the midterms, that's for sure. They'll say that the Republicans are going to lose the House. They might even lose the Senate. They'll scream it from the rooftop. If it's like 2 points less than that, they will say, oh, that's terrible. I guess Trump's losing his magic. I want Matt to do better than even me. So whatever you can do, I'll never forget you. The latest polls show Van Epps is locked in a tight race with Ben, topping the Democratic state lawmaker by only 2 percentage points, 48 to 46. With Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's looming retirement in January and special elections to fill the 2 vacant seats previously held by Democrats, Speaker Johnson, narrow grip on the House majority, would slip to a 0-vote margin by next spring if Van Epps loses. Trump saying this is a big deal because right now we're like 3 votes up on the radical left, and this would be a wonderful victory for us. It would be a very positive sign. The president joked that if the election doesn't work out for Van Epps, he would get the former Army Special Operations pilot a job flying helicopters around with me in it. But I think it's going to work out. I don't think we're going to have to worry about him. He's an outstanding guy. Speaker Johnson, who was also on the call with Trump, echoed the president's remarks, saying, it's no secret my majority in Congress is razor thin. Every seat matters more than ever. And that's exactly why we need Matt here in Washington. He spent the day campaigning with Van Epps, describing Ben as a far-left radical and extreme, pointing to the marquee guest at her Get Out the Vote rally. She would be just a rubber stamp for the disastrous agenda of radicals like AOC and the rest of them. Don't take my word for it. Matt's opponent is actually having a rally with AOC right now in Deep Red, Tennessee, if you can believe that, even as we speak. Now, you may recall when I talked about her in the past, that interview that she gave on some podcast where she said she doesn't like country music, doesn't like Nashville, and that, keep in mind, Nashville is in her district. I thought maybe that would be disqualifying, but as I said, it's too close for comfort. We'll put it that way. All right. As Glenn Reynolds says, Tuesday's a big day for Tennessee and for the closely divided U.S. House of Representatives. Democrats have been vowing to turn red states blue, and last month's election gave them some hopeful signs, thanks largely to revved-up urban voters. This week, a special election in Tennessee's 7th district, pitting GOP military veteran Matt Van Epps against far-left candidate Afton Ben, will show them just how far their base can take them. Going by conventional wisdom, this should be a walkover for Van Epps. The district leans Republican by 10 percentage points, and Van Epps' policy position echoes those of the previous incumbent, former Representative Mark Green, who resigned in July to launch new business. But redistricting in 2020 made the 7th somewhat less rural than it had been, as state House Republicans tried to boost their party's chances elsewhere. Now it's anchored by Democrat-nominated Nashville and its suburbs, as well as the wealthy bedroom community of Franklin, one of the richest cities in America. And some recent polling shows Ben within striking distance. That makes the race a canary in the coal mine for our political politics, says columnist Mark Pulliam. It shouldn't be. Ben is a former organizer for the George Soros-funded leftist resistance group Indivisible, and she has a propensity for saying and doing some crazy things. She has, for example, expressed contempt for Nashville, the same Nashville which she seeks to represent. I hate this city, she said in a recently resurfaced video. I hate the bachelorettes. I hate the pedal taverns. I hate country music. I hate all the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country. You'd think I hate country music would be the kiss of death all by itself. Here in Tennessee, our views on bachelorettes and pedal taverns are a little more mixed. But that's just the start of Ben's bizarre rantings. She publicly discussed her therapy sessions and her reoccurring dream of standing up in a cafeteria full of women and saying, "I don't want children, I want power," and just screaming it at the top of my lungs. Well, you can see why she won the Democrat primary. She said that women who have children are supporting the patriarchy and has encouraged self-managed at-home abortions in states that ban the procedures. And a 2019 video showed her screaming and sobbing while state troopers dragged her out of Tennessee Governor Bill Lee's office after she dashed in without authorization. With views and behaviors like this in a district that voted for President Trump by 22 percentage points, she should be dead in the water. But she's polling better than she has any right to, and she just might win it. The reason is the Republican voters in Tennessee, as in many other comfortably red states, are complacent. We've talked about this so often on the program. Happened here locally. They turn out in big numbers for presidential elections, but in special elections and local elections, they don't bother. Democrats, on the other hand, are insanely angry and motivated, desperate for any kind of win. Demographers like to say the future belongs to those who show up. Elections do too. Votes must be cast to get counted, and listless voters just stay home. In low turnout elections, which special elections usually are, the side demonstrating greater emotional intensity has a better chance of winning. That's definitely Democrats this time around. Meanwhile, the Tennessee GOP apparatus has appeared as limp as its voters. The party has done little to build a turnout operation, something Democrats here have been working very hard at, and seems to think that slamming Ben for her past outrageousness is all it will take to beat her. This sounds very familiar to New Yorkers. Zohran Mamdani's socialist, anti-Semitic statements gave his opponents plenty of ammunition to use against him. None of it dampened leftist voter intensity. Not long ago, it would have been unimaginable for New York City to elect a far-left Muslim mayor with open sympathy for terrorist groups after 2,976 people were killed and thousands more injured in Islamic terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. But New Yorkers, at least those who turned out to vote, did just that last month. Likewise, Tennessee might soon have a congresswoman who will make AOC look like a dignified stateswoman. We'll see. Another truthism about special elections is that pundits tend to treat them as more significant than they really are. But if Democrats do pull off a win this week, it will be a deadly warning to Republicans about the dangers of complacency. Either way, the scare should be a lesson ahead of next year's midterms. Play hungry if you want to win. On that note, we've got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Tom Sharp from Mannheim Steamrollers. Then after that, we have a little bit here about New York State issues. Then, of course, in the 7 o'clock hour, we also have Corning Painted Post High School Drama Club. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
You can just keep watching and scrolling, and the world will still feel like it's falling apart.
Widespread missile attack. Highest hospitalization. Evacuation in the West.
Or you can take action by joining a movement that's creating real and lasting change instead. Partnering with communities around the globe to help uproot poverty and plant seeds of hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because at World Vision, we believe that no situation is hopeless. Join a movement that's changing the world for good.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. Retirement is the long game. We can't play about our future or our finances. Let's put ourselves in the right position.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horsets. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that virtual studio this morning is Tom Sharp. Thanks so much for being on the program this morning.
Hi, Frank. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us, I know this is a simple question you get all the time, but for someone that hasn't experienced a concert like this live, what's it like? What's the atmosphere like?
Well, this is the Mannheim Steamroller Christmas is the longest running Christmas tour and the #1 selling Christmas tour of all time.
Wow.
So we have just passed our 40th anniversary of Mannheim Steamroller Christmas, and we are bringing you all of the classic pieces that you know from the radio to listening to Christmas arrangements in stores, and you almost can't avoid just the wonderful Christmas arrangements and compositions that we have brought through these many years. So we have 6 of us that tour,
okay,
and we are considered the band, and then we will have a orchestra that rounds out the stage, so it's a full stage full of musicians.
Wow.
Have an amazing light show and awesome video production that takes you straight from where we all started all the way up to modern day. So it really is something that is more than just playing Christmas music.
Sure.
We feel like we're doing something very special. We're going to leave you feeling the joy of Christmas and feeling inspired for the season.
If you're not in the Christmas spirit by the time it's over, then you're never going to be there, right?
This is really something where people have brought their children to see us, and then the children grow up and are bringing their children, and it's something that is really a Christmas tradition, is Mannheim Steamroller Christmas. And it's something that gets passed down through the generations, and we know that we in the group are carrying a tremendous legacy.
Right.
And we're just really honored and feel that we are going to share something that's really special.
Did you ever think when you started back around 18 years ago that you'd still be with them today?
Well, I certainly hoped so. I think that Mannheim Steamroller is something that is going to continue on. I kind of look at it like, you would like the New York Philharmonic,
sure,
Chicago Symphony Orchestra, something like that, where our fans are fans of Mannheim Steamroller, and we in the group, I'm 18 years in, so I'm one of the longtime members, and we in the group now are the ones that are honored to carry this legacy from this point to whenever the next is.
Sure. How do you, because I'm assuming when you start practicing getting ready for a tour, you're playing Christmas music, I'm assuming, a little early for Christmas? Is that the case when you start to get ready?
Yeah, we in the group, we probably never are fully away from it all year, because
sure.
the music is very complex, and it's easy to listen to, but it's complex, and you can peel it back in many different layers. So there's always something, when we're practicing the music, there's always something new to hear and different ways to listen to it.
Sure.
So when people say it's Christmas in July, it really means
for you year round.
For us. Yeah.
What was it that originally drew you to join the band?
Well, growing up as a kid, I was a kid when that first Christmas album came out in 1984, and was already an aspiring musician at that point, and felt like that probably was the way that my life was going to go, was to be a career musician. When I first heard that the Mannheim Steamroller Christmas album as a kid, I was just blown away by it. I had never heard anything like it, and really there was nothing like it at that point. I mean, now a lot of groups have Christmas shows, and there's a lot of different rock Christmas shows or things like that, but when this first Christmas album came out in 1984, it was so, unique and groundbreaking that it really created and inspired like this whole genre of music. There was nothing like that before it. I mean, it was, Elvis and Bing Crosby and those types of, great Christmas songs. But this came out and kind of turned the whole thing upside down, is how I like to think of it.
You're right. It almost feels like you've always been there, that music's always been there, and you don't realize how revolutionary it was when it first came out.
Yeah, it really is one of a kind, and revolutionary is absolutely right. It's Chip Davis, the creator of this, is just a visionary, and the way that he arranges these pieces, that we all know, the classic pieces, and also he does this amazing thing where almost like in the middle of a piece or something is some minutes of just original music that he kind of is able to weave in and out of these classic Christmas arrangements, along with he has a lot of his own Christmas songs that were that are originals too, that are just either totally rocking or super lush and beautiful, and it's just really a special thing to be a part of.
How many songs do you typically get through in a show? Because the songs can be quite lengthy.
Yeah, we have. I think we're probably 12 or 13 per half. So, we have an intermission in there, and then that's about.
Wow.
I think that's about where we're landing. So, and it has such a great flow to it too. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride of emotions where we're taking you up and bringing you back, and lots of it will be very heartfelt, and then some of it's just going to be just total rock energy, and it's a real journey that we're taking you on. It's not just playing Christmas songs, because honestly you can get that anywhere.
Right.
So we want you to feel like you have left a concert that something really special just happened.
What's it like, because you mentioned the orchestra, you mentioned the band, you mentioned how many people have to just put something like this together. What's the tour like? It must be pretty overwhelming.
Everybody's so great on this tour. It's like, high quality always wins. And so, it's from our crew to our management to the orchestral musicians that we work with, we're considered, the Mannheim Steamrollers considered the band, and we're the ones that tour with our crew and managers. And then the orchestra is local. So we will come into town and we will rehearse with your top level contracted musicians, and then we'll put on the show. But I always say high quality always wins. And so we expect that, and we bring that just everywhere we go. So it's a wonderful tour to be a part of, and it's something that I look forward to every year. So on your downtime and your free time, what kind of music do you listen to? Oh my gosh, I listen to all sorts of stuff. It's a generic answer, but I grew up. Formal training was orchestral music, so I still love that. I really kind of lean towards the romantic period of classical music with with like Mahler and Dvorak and Rimsky-Korsakov and the names like that. And so that's my kind of classical side, and I'm a rocker too. So, and being a drummer, I tend to lean towards the more complex, arranged, drum bands like Tool and Muse and things like that the drummers are really hitting it hard. So, and I also have a lot of fondness for world music, and I'm a composer, and I kind of blend all those things together when I compose my own music. The classical and the rock and the world together. Do you have touring so frequently and being a part of this so often, do you have a lot of free time to do your own music? I think all of us as musicians, it's none of us ever just do one thing. So I think that's kind of part of your life's work as a musician is doing different, being in different bands and doing some teaching, and any time that you feel like you're doing what you consider to be your life's work, you want to give that back.
Sure.
So all of us are doing some sort of giving back in some ways, whether we're doing teaching or whether we're giving clinics or things like that. Just kind of finding ways to have your art be something that's bigger than you. And I think that's a real goal for me, is to always feel like when you're doing your life's work, people can tell.
Yes.
And that's how I want to be in my career, whether it's being with Mannheim Steamroller, or whether it's doing my own music, or whether it's being at a university, or being in a elementary school assembly. It all together creates a career in music.
Just before we go, because you are so busy touring, do you get to take in the holiday season, or you're just constantly going? You're busy when everybody else is trying to take off.
Yeah, that's kind of part of it, is that being in a famous Christmas group means you don't really get Christmas off.
Yeah, right.
But we do get Christmas Day off, though, so that's good. And but we all adapt and adjust to that, and we know it really is like, it's not about me,
right?
And
right.
We all feel like that in the group, that when you look at it through that lens, the lens of the audience, it's every night is the night. That's how we feel. It's not like, oh gosh, we're 25 shows into this and it's getting tiring, and we never feel that way. We gear up for every night as if it is the night, because it is for the audience. They've got this checked on their calendar for as long as they've had tickets, and as long as they've known that we're coming, and so we bring it. Every night we bring it, and that's what we want you to expect. Is expect a lot, because we're going to bring it.
All right. Well, perfect. On that note, Tom, thanks for giving us so much time today.
Of course. Thank you, Frank.
Best of luck. Enjoy Elmira. All right.
Thanks so much.
All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's the last tea party for Crystal with Miss Marshmallow. Oh, wow. And Sarah's first day of management training at Goodwill. When you donate to Goodwill, you help provide skills training and career placement. And the things you love start a new life too.
It's a new day. A day to do the work for those who need us most. At Feed the Children, we provide hungry kids with the food and essentials they need to grow and thrive. In the U.S. and around the world, you can join us and nourish empty stomachs to build brighter futures. Today is a new day, and together we can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
I see it all, but I'm human.
How can I keep going like this?
Who will listen to me when no one gets it?
Is there a safe space for me?
How will I handle it all? We all have a reason. 988 can help you find it. We hear you.
Call, text, or chat 988 for emotional support and crisis services. It's free, confidential, and here for you 24/7.
And remember, call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello! Injury attorney William Mattar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
Sorry, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out.
Ooh, it's mine. This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar.
You lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan. Water.
Welcome to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We got quite a message here from Ken. Thank you, Ken. We'll read that in just a second. Comment from a different viewer. I'm hearing George Soros is pouring millions into the campaigns around the country to try to get the Democrats back into power. Yeah, I'm sure that would be the case. That is typical. George Soros owns hundreds of radio stations in and around the United States. Yes, there was quite a controversy at the time. I was out of radio at that point. But there was quite a controversy surrounding his purchase of those radio stations. But Ken writes in, get ready, buckle up, folks. Oh, by the way, we're going to have Corning Painted Post High School Drama Club coming up in probably about 15 minutes. So Ken writes in, I spent Sunday morning lethargic and sleepy from days of tryptophan intake in front of the television. To punish myself for my overindulgence, I thought, why not share my misery with Frank and his viewers? All I can say is wow to the flamboyant attempts to demonize and minimize President Trump on Meet the Depressed. Welker worked relentlessly and unsuccessfully to try and get Kristi Noem to say that it was Trump's administration that didn't vet the National Guard killer instead of Biden's handlers. She then successfully got Mark Kelly to spend 15 minutes talking about how horrible Trump is and how wonderful he is. Not surprisingly, he wouldn't say that the bombing of the drug boats and any other activities are or have been illegally ordered. He also stated that Trump's closing down immigration from third world countries, it's just to stop brown people from getting into the country. That was his, wasn't Mark Kelly? Yeah, I heard that from numerous people recently. Finally, she turned to Tim Walz, who pretended that he is doing a great job of running a state. He said Trump is becoming more demented every day, saying that when most people are spending time on Thanksgiving enjoying family, Trump was ranting and raving incoherently on social media at midnight. He failed to explain how the money stolen from Illinois social programs happened under his watch. This week, with George Snuffleupagus, what much was much the same as Meet the Depressed. Carl tried unsuccessfully to get Noem to say the Trump administration was responsible for not vetting the National Guard killer. She had on Van Hollen, who did his usual trash Trump rhetoric. A new face was also on, the GOP representative from Nebraska, Don Bacon. He was brought on for a few minutes of fame, bashing Trump on Ukraine and Russia negotiations and the drug boat bombings. I suspect he wants to seek higher office and wants to get his name out there. On Deface the Nation, they interviewed Samantha Vanogard, a security advisor for CBS during the Biden handler administration. She was on to confirm to the sheeple that Biden's handlers properly vetted all Afghan asylum seekers. Republican Representative Mike Turner was on. He was a mostly non-committal to the host who was trying to get him to bash Trump on today's common topic. Tim Kaine was on. I will bet that everyone knows what the little leprechaun talked about. Trump bad, Democrats good. He implied that Trump doesn't care about drugs and is selling access to the presidency, and that Trump is responsible for the National Guard killing by putting the guards in D.C. in the first place. Kevin Hassett, National Economic Advisor, was on. The host tried fruitlessly to get him to say the economy is bad and getting worse. The host specifically commented that groceries are up 1.4%, which Hassett responded, "I'm glad you mentioned that 1.4% inflation in groceries is better than the historic year-to-year target for inflation of 2%. So we are doing a good job. I feel bad for the low information sheeple. If they only listen to the legacy media and aren't critical thinkers, they are doomed to believe the left propaganda, whose only focus is to divide the electorate to enrich themselves." Thank you, Ken. Thank you for the Sunday recap. I appreciate it. No real surprises there. You're right. Trump, bad. Democrats, good. Boy, the coverage is going to be nonstop if the Democrat wins in that Tennessee special election. We know that. Oh, I meant to mention this at the beginning of the broadcast. This was breaking yesterday. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that several of his New York offices have faced bomb threats via an email with a subject line MAGA. Sometimes when something just fits to quote unquote perfectly in their political minds, it raises a lot of red flags, doesn't it? This morning, I was informed by law enforcement entities throughout New York of multiple bombing threats that were made at my offices in Rochester, Binghamton, and Long Island with the email subject line MAGA and from an email address alleging the 2020 election was rigged. Local and federal law enforcement responded immediately and are conducting full security sweeps. Everyone is safe, and I'm grateful for the quick and professional response to ensure these offices remain safe and secure for all New Yorkers. As I've said many times, these kind of violent threats have absolutely no place in our political system. No one, no public servant, no staff member, no constituent, no citizen should ever be targeted for simply doing their jobs. Schumer then read a version of his written statement on the Senate floor moments after issuing it before moving on to other issues, including U.S. strikes on what the Trump administration says are drug boats in the Caribbean. How do you like that? How NBC words that? What the Trump administration says are drug boats in the Caribbean. Now, Chuck Schumer also was on CNN's The Lead, and he responded to questions of the criticism of Obamacare from Democrats and whether there was room for bipartisanship on health insurance by saying, quote, "The Republicans want to make people pay more while Democrats want to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies." And then he went on to make health care, and then we want to make health care more effective and cheaper for the average American. Just the opposite of what most of the Republicans want to do. Little bias. Well, the bottom line is there's such a division between the parties. Republicans want to make people pay more. One of their major proposals is to privatize the whole thing, which will raise people's costs. What Democrats want to do is lower people's costs. The first step, of course, is extending the ACA premiums, which were totally, unlike the Republicans, were totally united on the issue from one end of the party to the other. And then we want to make health care more effective and cheaper for the average American. Just the opposite of what most of the Republicans want to do. If they want to come to us and say we want to work with you to lower premiums, I mean to lower costs, to make health care better, fine. But right now they're heading in the opposite direction. All right, speaking of New York, that was just a couple quick New York updates. Oh my gosh, we're moving fast. I've got a couple of Democrat updates as well, just about what the party is looking like. As if you are just joining us, as we had mentioned, it is a very big day in Tennessee with that special election in the 7th district. We talked. I know numerous people have said this. I did think it was probably the end of her career, the Democrat, when she was caught on that podcast saying that she hates country music, basically hates Nashville. Keep in mind, Nashville would be in her district that she's running for. But it's too close for comfort. The polls show that it's almost an even race. Donald Trump winning that district by, I think it was 22 points over Harris. So it's going to be a big one to watch for tonight. And trust me, we'll cover it tomorrow, but there'll be a lot of coverage of it across the board. But we'll tell you about some, and what Ken mentioned as well. We'll talk about Tim Walz and the scam that's cost his state $1 billion. We've also got a few things here. Just a couple of opinion pieces as well. As I mentioned, Corning Penny Post Drama Club is going to be in. Thank you again to Tom Sharp for being on the program in the last hour. That's how we wrapped up the hour. I do appreciate it. Don't forget, he'll be at the Clemens Center, and that is, when did I say it was? December 3rd. That is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Mannheim Steamroller, Christmas. So don't miss that. Then in just a little bit, we're going to be talking with Corning Painting Post High School Drama Club. They're holding Irving Berlin's White Christmas the Musical, and that's December 4th through the 6th at 7 p.m., December 7th at 2 p.m. Okay, there we go. Now, where do I want to go? Let's take a break. We don't want to run too late. We're going to be joined by the Drama Club right around 7:20, so we'll have one more segment. Keep those comments, keep those questions coming in. As we have said numerous times this morning, call ahead before you go out. Call to make sure that your organization, your business is open, because it is pretty bad out there on the roads. I know most schools are on a delay or have canceled. But just saying, as someone that drove in it, obviously, this morning, they're not overly clean as of right now, and it's a very slippery types of snow. So please don't be in a rush. If you have to go out, set your alarm in a way that you get a little extra time on the road, because it is going to be nasty out there. All right, let's take that short break. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
This is Jim from Famous Brands. We are ready for fall and loaded with all of your favorite brands. Great new deals are arriving every week. We have the largest selection of clothing and footwear in the Finger Lakes, all at below retail prices. Famous Brands, downtown Watkins Glen, where you're always looking good for less.
Since 2013, Valley City Insurance Services has been your hometown insurance provider. We're small enough to give you the attention you deserve, but large enough to provide you with access to the nation's top insurance companies. The staff at Valicenti Insurance Services will help you find the right plan for your individual needs, whether it's auto and home insurance, life insurance, health insurance, or business coverage. Valicenti Insurance Services, Water Street in Elmira. Visit us at valicentiins.com.
Size here, and the savings are unbeatable at Raymore and Flanagan. Save up to $1,000 on must-have pieces, sectionals, bedroom sets, and dining sets. Don't miss these massive Cyber Week deals. Enjoy delivery in 3 days or less on thousands of in-stock items, so your home will be ready for the holidays. You can also shop all the top mattress brands and experience the benefits of better sleep. Cyber Week savings won't be here for long. Shop today at Raymore and Flanagan, proud sponsor of the Buffalo Bills.
Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the Southern Tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. News on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Comment from a viewer. Chuck Schumer is a perfect example of the applicable question, how can you tell if a Democrat is lying? His or her lips are moving. Thank you very much. So Governor Hochul is returning roughly $70,000 after facing heat for accepting illegal campaign funds from people on state panels. Contributions her adversary, Elise Stefanik, slammed as pay-to-play. Hochul's reelection coffers have been flush with funds from at least 8 people who serve on advisory groups and other policy-making panels, which was first reported by the Gothamist, the website, prompting her campaign to admit the misstep and scurry to give back the funds. The contributions were illegal under an executive order re-upped by Hochul, a Democrat, in 2021 that forbids state employees or officers, even those in unpaid roles on little-known government panels, from contributing to a gubernatorial campaign. This was her own rule. This was her own law, and she got caught breaking that law. Republicans jumped on the opportunity, needless to say, to blast the governor. Stefanik, who is running for governor, said the worst governor in America, Kathy Hochul, is also the most corrupt. Hochul got busted in a pay-to-play scheme and only returned the campaign cash after the media exposed her. Some donors, including Matthew Rand, who was appointed by then-Governor Andrew Cuomo to the State Board of Real Property Tax Services when he started donating to Hochul. Rand, a real estate broker, was appointed to the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council in June of 2022 and proceeded to give Hochul's campaign another $15,000. Another was Mark Gregorio, CEO of elevator company TEI, who was appointed by Hochul to the Elevator Safety and Standards Board in February of 2022. Since then, Gregorio, along with his wife and TEI, have contributed $63,000 to Hochul's campaign. She's making out good breaking the law that she encouraged, that she signed into law. Gregorio told the Post he wasn't aware of the order prohibiting him giving to Hochul and denied that his contributions had anything to do with his appointment to the elevator board. Rand didn't immediately respond to the Post. Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado, who is primarying Governor Hochul, you'll see that the media kind of in a very Slee Wall-esque way, not reporting on him, not giving him coverage. But he did release a statement saying, for too long, New York has been run in back rooms with deals made behind closed doors. New York deserves a government that works for the people, not one that operates behind their backs. A spokesperson for Hochul's campaign confirmed the contributions were being returned, but declined to comment any further. While the governor's campaign isn't under threat of going bankrupt anytime soon, it reported over $17 million cash on hand as of July. The scandal is yet another example of the governor walking away from her early promises of good government and a new era of transparency. Allies like Randy Weingarten, president of the Powerful Teachers Union, flocked to Hochul's defense, saying Governor Hochul has the highest ethical standards and is working day in and day out to put money back in families' pockets. I'm proud to stand behind her. So Hochul busted after she admits taking campaign contributions that violated her own executive order. And Elise Stefanik is making hay with it. All right. How are we doing here? We got a lot to cover yet this morning. Well, you know what? Let's take a break, because what we're going to do is we're going to hear from Corning Penny Post High School Drama Club. They have the play coming up, as I keep mentioning this morning. So they'll be joining us here in just a little bit. I know I'm throwing a lot at you today. I know there's a lot coming up, but I don't want you to miss out on all of it, because I know some of it, like this one, is very important to many. There's going to be an open table, a free meal hosted by First Presbyterian Church, 1 East 1st Street in Corning. They're doing this all month, a free weekly dinner from 5:30 till 6:30. All are welcome. Dine in only. The 3rd is going to be breakfast for dinner. So that's tomorrow, breakfast for dinner. Then on the 10th, chicken and biscuits. The 17th, a pasta dinner. And then the 25th, their Christmas dinner, their yearly tradition of Christmas dinner, which 11:30 a.m., carol singing, and dinner begins at noon. So again, this is a free dinner for all of those in need. Dine-in only, but the 3rd, which is tomorrow from 5:30 till 6:30, you get breakfast for dinner. All right. And if you are part of an organization or a charity and you want to spread the word about upcoming events, just text or call that number on the bottom of your screen at any time. I'll do my best to highlight your organization or whatever the case may be, your charity. So we try to do as much as we possibly can here for the community, as you know. That's why we've been promoting the Salvation Army telethon, which is coming up on December 12th, and a lot more that we've been talking about. But stay with us. We got to take a short break. I'm killing just a little time because I didn't want to run too early, but I didn't want to start a new topic. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Our friends from Corning Penny Post High School will be joining us. Stay with us.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
10 p.m. somewhere.
Do you know what your kids are doing online? Brought to you by Ferrario Jeep.
This is a Sue the Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Hello? Hi. Where are you guys? Thanksgiving dinner's almost on the table. What? No, that can't be right. I just saw them last night. A drunk driver? But no, I just saw them. They're gone? They're gone.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Because even one
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, it's the cast of White Christmas the Musical. Welcome.
Hi.
It's just a few days away. Are you nervous?
A little bit.
No.
One mask.
Now, let me start by having you each introduce yourselves, if you don't mind.
I'm Maya. I play Betty Haynes.
I'm Delilah. I play Judy Haynes.
I'm Connor. I play Bob Wallace.
Okay.
And I'm Thomas. I play Phil Davis.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about Irvin Berling's White Christmas the Musical. I mean, I think most people are familiar with it, but if someone wants to take the ball and just tell us a little bit about it.
White Christmas, like you said, it's classic. It's about these two military guys, Bob Wallace and Phil Davis, and after they get out of the Army, they get into show business and they become like really big stars on like the Ed Sullivan Show on Broadway and stuff like that.
And this guy's a stick in the mud. He doesn't want to do anything. I want to do everything.
Thanks.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And so they meet these two wonderful ladies, and because Phil is trying to set Bob up with one of them.
Okay.
And in the process, these two fall in love. So they got to get us together.
Okay.
And so they Shanghai Bob. They bring Bob all the way up to Vermont where the girls are going, but we were supposed to go to Miami to do a show. And there they meet their old general from the Army who's running an inn, and he's doing a pretty bad job while doing it. And so the only way that they can think to help the old guy out is to move their show all the way to Vermont to like pack the place, and so they can like make money for the inn.
Sure.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, of course. How do you each get into your roles?
I think like, so for my character especially, I have longer hair, but I think we wanted to do like a bob. So especially like when I like get into like the bob, that brings the whole character.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I think same for me. My character is like the younger sister, so she's kind of more playful, and I do a lot of dancing. So with my hair, I have it up, and it's kind of easy to. It's kind of playful, and it's fun to get into a character like that.
I would say the dynamic between Bob and Phil in the show is pretty similar to the dynamic between me and Thomas in real life.
Oh, okay.
He is one of the most insufferable human beings I've had the pleasure to deal with. I'm kidding. He is my best friend, and doing the show with him has been a real treat because we have really good chemistry together.
Yeah. I just like to practice my smiles. Like Phil's got a very big smile, so he's like, hey. You know,
that's one way to get into it. Absolutely. Now, how much work has went into this? When did you start rehearsing?
Beginning of October or a little bit before.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to get into the Christmas spirit in October?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm lucky none of my audition songs were actually about Christmas.
Okay. Okay.
It was really hard. I worked at Tagsylvania, which is a haunted house.
Yeah, of course.
So I would be
a zombie by day.
During the weekdays, I'd be full of the Christmas spirit, and then I have to go back and try to, like you said, be a zombie. So,
What is it that you like most about the musical?
I love the different types of dancing. We get to do tap dancing, which I love, and then just like regular, like choreograph on stage, and it's really fun, like doing the different types and kind of combining them all together.
Yeah, I agree. I like the different types of like music because there's like a jazzy style for the most part, and then a lot of it's just like woo woo. Yeah.
I love the music.
Yeah.
We've got this gigantic orchestra led, of course, by Mr. Olson. It's huge, and the music they're playing is like so kind of old-fashioned, but it's just so catchy.
Yeah.
You know, not to toot my own horn.
it is, for me, it's been like a big like acting experience because like it's all about that old 50s like Americana.
Of course.
And so there's a lot of like heavy character moments, especially between me and Maya's character Betty. And so it's been like really good to like try to like really like push myself to like feel what Bob is feeling. And
that's a great point. What's it feel like to try to pretend it's like 1950? Was that kind of a learning curve?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. They do they obviously do it so much differently. So it's like I don't know. Some of like the lines like you're trying to figure out how to say it because you wouldn't normally say stuff like that. So it's like it really does push yourself.
It is nice that it's such like a well-known musical though,
Right.
because there's a lot of inspiration we can take from previous shows, which is nice.
Does that not concern you? But when you think about it, it is such an iconic musical. How do you handle that kind of responsibility?
There's definitely a lot of expectation about matching it with like the movie, but the musical itself, some of it's a little bit different. So that's going to be something that's like kind of nerve-wracking, but I think everyone's just excited, and obviously they know we're a high school, so it's going to be different.
And I'm assuming you've all acted before, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And all sing in musicals, because a musical to me always seems so overwhelming. Like kind of
it's a lot.
There's a lot of singing.
Yeah.
How much practice goes into in the individual day, like when you're headed to practice? A lot?
A few hours.
Oh, really?
A few hours, like almost every day of the week.
Yeah.
Oh my
You
God.
gotta listen to the songs. You've gotta, especially the dances. There's a lot to
There's a lot of
there's that
like
too.
a lot of big numbers where everything's got to look perfect, or else
We're talking minutes of tap dancing.
Yeah, don't you guys do like 3 minutes and 30 seconds of tap dancing in just one song?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. Yeah, you need a lot of practice for something like that. Did you get sick of the songs?
No.
No.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They're really catchy. Yeah.
How big? You mentioned the orchestra. How big is the cast overall?
30 people.
65 people.
65. 60. They're all
35.
Somewhere between 30 and 65.
Cast and crew, yeah.
Oh, cast and crew. Wow. How did all those people get that much time to do it? Has everybody got along? Everybody's doing good?
Yeah,
definitely a really great cast.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I think because it's like such a Christmas spirit and like very merry show. I think everyone's just getting into that spirit because they have to get into that spirit for the acting on stage. So I think everyone's just like very cheerful and very nice to each other.
Yeah. Now, is this each of yours first time being in the lead roles?
No.
Depends on what you mean by lead.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the specifics. Sorry, I set myself up for a bad question there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just before we go, I got to end on a bad note. That's great. No. Just before we go, what's the best way to get tickets? Can people? I'm going to put up on the screen right now. Can people wait till the door, or do you recommend getting them ahead of time?
I would recommend getting ahead of time.
Yeah, a lot of people are planning to come, so they probably know.
Like ticket sales are already pretty high up.
Oh, okay.
Like they've been high.
Yeah.
Like since they opened. So.
Well, because it's Christmas, like it's already starting to feel like that. As we have sparkles coming up and all these things. The Parade of Lights, our lights went up on Market Street for the first time. I think 2 days ago. So everybody's in the spirit. You've got me in the spirit. Well, best of luck. Thanks so much for doing this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
William Matar has a reputation for being a good guy.
Because I am a good guy.
For being focused on motor vehicle accident cases.
Because I focus on motor vehicle accidents.
For fighting for his clients.
Because I fight for my clients.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it matters who you hire. It matters in the experience as well as the results. Call William Matar. Visit WilliamMatar.com.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
When you're on, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
At some point in life, you or a loved one will need disability services, and Easter Seals will be there. Because at Easter Seals, our national network of caregivers and experts make a lasting difference in the lives of people with disabilities by providing care and support at every stage of life in thousands of communities across America, like yours. We're helping your neighbors, kids, grandparents, and friends with disabilities lead full, independent lives.
That plow is moving there. Wow. Thank you to all of our plow drivers. Please be safe out there. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Thank you to our friends at Corning Paint and Post High School Drama. We always appreciate having them on the program. All right, we got a lot of comments to get to. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Rick. Looks like a lot of people are a little upset at Pete the Leak telling his troops to make sure everyone on the Little's Venezuelan drug boat was dead. And the U.S. crew made sure. I think that's a war crime unless Trump has changed that law. Pete, what are we going to do with you? You know, I think this is a good example of what Mark Kelly and the other 5 Democrats were talking about. Don't act on an illegal order, especially when it is given by an incompetent leader of the Department of Defense. Not war, defense. Trump, you need to pull that attack fleet up there by the United States-Mexican border. There's drugs pouring under, over, and through your beautiful wall like water over Niagara Falls. Hey, Trump commutes David Gentile's sentence for 12 days into his 7-year sentence. I'm sure he is sorry for ripping people off for $1.2 billion. Donald, then Trump pardons the ex-Honduran drug-running president. Can you Trump lovers explain why your hero does such stupid things on a daily basis? And more importantly, why do you support it? Hey, let's all have an awesome week, and I hope everyone enjoyed Thanksgiving. Thank you, Rick. I hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving as well. Comment from a different viewer. Why isn't Hochul being charged with accepting known illegal campaign contributions? No one is ever prosecuted for this. Why? Everyone should call Attorney General James's office today and demand Hochul be charged. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. What the heck is that comment that the Democrats are for affordability? You got to be kidding me. Is that person on drugs? Was that what Chuck Schumer said? Is that the affordability quote? I can't remember which one. Chuck Schumer did say something about Democrats want to make Obamacare more affordable and Republicans want it to be more expensive or something. Yeah, that must be what you're referencing. Comment from a different viewer. Mark writes in, Hochul broke her own law, totally a Democratic thing, and things we don't need, and we don't need you, Hochul. Go, Elise Stefanik. Make Hochul pay for her crimes. Thank you very much. And finally, Carol writes in, thanks for interviewing Tom. That's Tom Sharp from Mannheim Steamroller. I met him 6 years ago when I went to see them the first time at the Clemens Center. The band came out to greet guests, and he was just super to talk to. I'm hoping they do it again this year. I've seen them again since then, and I'll be there tomorrow night as well. It's a fabulous show. Well worth the ticket price, and you'll leave there with the spirit of Christmas inside you. By the way, he's magical on those drums. Thank you, Carol. Yes, what a cool concert that they get at the Clemens Center to get you ready for Christmas, because it's already December 2nd. Oh, okay. No, it was from someone who posted a comment to you earlier. Oh, I don't remember. I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But thank you. Sometimes I read the comments quick. I'm not sure, but thank you. All right, so Gavin Newsom is winning the liberal Hollywood support. Now, I guess he's Hollywood supporters forgot about the wildfires, what it did. Because remember, there was a lot of Hollywood supporters of Gavin Newsom till the disastrous handling of the wildfires. He's a fighter. That's what we need, said a top-tier producer, describing him as a reliable Democrat, ATM, over the deadlines. It was from Deadline, over the decades. I just wish more Democrats like Chuck Schumer and the leadership in Congress would emulate him, not take any blank from Trump. What is it? So the support really does just come from the fact that he tries to copy Trump's kind of sound or quote-unquote rhetoric in his tweets? Is that really why he's getting this kind of support, Gavin Newsom? Because how, if you lived in Hollywood and you saw how disastrous his handling of the wildfires were, how you could ever support him? And I guess he's considered, now he's considered a part of the resistance. Gavin Newsom, leading the resistance. So according to Deadline, Gavin Newsom is winning early enthusiasm from liberal Hollywood donors ahead of 2028. We predicted it. I mean, we've seen the media trying to prop him up, to hype him up. So it really doesn't come as a surprise. I just can't imagine. You can look at what he did to the riots, the wildfires, and think he's done a good job. Never mind just the cold, hard economic facts of what they're struggling with in California. But he looks like he is. I mean, Politico said it, 2 weeks ago? Get used to it. Gavin Newsom is the front runner. He's... All right. Speaking of front runners, remember Tim Walz? Of course, we all do. Well, Tim Walz, what am I doing on time? Tim Walz ran with Kamala Harris. We were told he was kind of the alpha male. The Treasury and House panel are now launching a probe into Tim Walz's handling of $1 billion food aid fraud that they could make criminal referrals. A powerful U.S. House committee and the Treasury Department both launched investigations into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's involvement in a massive fraud scheme that involved Somali immigrants bilking more than $1 billion from taxpayers. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer told the Post that his panel will conduct a thorough investigation into Governor Walz's failure to safeguard taxpayer dollars as a result. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was warned about massive fraud in a pandemic food aid program for children, yet he failed to act. Instead, whistleblowers who raised concerns faced retaliation. Because of Governor Walz's negligence, criminals, including Somali terrorists, stole nearly $1 billion from the program while children suffered. As chairman of the powerful GOP-led panel, Comer can issue subpoenas and refer alleged crimes to the Department of Justice for potential criminal prosecution. The DOJ has already convicted 59 fraudsters in the scheme. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent posted on X that he had instructed his investigators to dig into how the feckless mismanagement of the Biden administration and Governor Walz allowed tax dollars to be funneled to these terrorists. The revelation about the scale of the $1 billion fraud for a COVID-era food relief program are new, as is the claim that some of the money flowed back to the Somali terrorist organizations. But House Republicans have been on to Walz in Minnesota over its leaky aid program for months. Last year, Republicans on the House Education and Workforce Committee issued a subpoena to Walz for records, though it's unclear what information, if any, his office provided. A rep for that panel didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The House Oversight probe comes following prosecution of 78 scammers, often from Somalia, who took Minnesota taxpayer money as part of what the feds have called the Feeding Our Future fraud scandal. Feeding Our Future, perfect government program that was used to scam. The ploy, according to prosecutors, involved funneling money from state social services coffers, including at the Department of Human Services and Department of Education, to the nonprofit Feeding Our Future and other organizations to ostensibly feed school children. Instead, the depraved and brazen plot used the funds to splurge on the lavish lifestyles of the nonprofit workers, including for brand new fancy cars and real estate holdings as far away as Turkey and Kenya between April of 2020 and January of 2022. Wow. The FBI raided the fake nonprofit the same month, and it later dissolved. Many of the reimbursement claims from the organization were sent to state departments and then on to federal agencies such as the USDA. a whistleblower account purporting to be 500 employees within Minnesota's Department of Human Services, slamming Walz on Saturday for being 100% responsible for this fraud. Now, keep in mind, this guy wanted to be the vice president of the United States of America. We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership and stopping fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got the full weight of retaliation. It's scary, isolating, and left us wondering who we can turn to. The employees claim that Walz had weakened safeguards, including at the Office of Legislative Auditor, during that episode. So we can go on this, but Walz has boasted that he took, quote, responsibility for putting people in jail who were connected to the fraud, but also hit Trump in comments on Meet the Press over the weekend that Ken had mentioned. And there's a big difference between fraud and corruption, he said. And corruption is something he knows about, meaning Trump. Donald Trump deflect, demonize, come up with no solutions. He's not going to help fix anything on hand. My goodness, there's a big difference between fraud and corruption is something he knows all about. The 61-year-old governor, who is currently running for a third term in office, told the Minnesota Reformer that he was aware of suspicious activities by the nonprofit as early as November of 2020. Minnesota Department of Education first moved to stop payments to Feeding Our Future at that time. But Walz let the payments flow again after Feeding Our Future sued the department for alleged racial discrimination. We're going to tell you a little bit more about this. Getting ready to wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. Please be careful. If you have to go out today, make sure you call ahead of time to see if your organization or your business is open. There's a lot of cancellations, a lot of closings. The road, not looking out here on Mark Street, not quite clean. And I know when I came in early this morning, it was quite, I would say, dangerous. So please be careful out there. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
An albino baby buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
Lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan, water you love.
Oh, dear coach.
Dear coach, they don't teach you that inner strength is the most important kind of strong. But you taught me that.
They don't teach you how to build confidence in yourself or how to deal with all the pressures all at once. But you taught me that.
First tee was more than golf. It's where I discovered what I'm capable of.
You didn't just prepare me for 18 holes. You were preparing me for every day of my life. Learn more at First Tee.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. So we're talking about Governor Tim Walz and the New York Post editorial board. And we got a couple other things on Democrats here to probably wrap up today's edition. But get your last minute comments in. But scammers in Minnesota have ripped off taxpayers to the tune of $1 billion. While the state's progressive leaders stood back and watched. Over the weekend, hundreds of state social workers skewered Governor Walz, not just for ignoring shady nonprofits' shameless milking of the state's generous welfare system, but also for punishing workers who raised alarms. That X account, claiming to speak for 480 current Minnesota Department of Human Services employees, posted on Saturday that Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, yet he systematically retaliated against whistleblowers and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Dozens of fraudsters, almost all Somali immigrants, set up sham nonprofits, billed the state for services that never actually delivered, and used the cash to fund lavish lifestyles, as I mentioned earlier. Federal prosecutors have convicted at least 59 scammers, with dozens more being charged. We talked about feeding our future. That faked feeding tens of thousands of hungry kids. Others pretended to help the autistic and the homeless, even as the cash actually bought luxury cars, travel, and real estate. And it was exactly as easy as taking candy from babies, because Walz's administration didn't want to offend the state's sizable Somali voting bloc by acknowledging the theft and melted at the first cry of racism. Yes, early on, the State Department of Education started questioning Feed Our Future's fishy invoices. The nonprofit threatened a lawsuit charging bigotry, and the questions stopped. Man, they knew how to play the game, didn't they? The progressive failure goes far deeper than the woke failure. Walz and his team put ideology above all, including sound fiscal management and other basics of good government. And the Somali bloc was hardly the only vested interest they favored over the public good. Walz may be a weakling, but the state's elites stood with him. If progressivism now means letting scammers and special interests take the state to the cleaners, expect Minnesota to start outgrowing its progressive heritage. All right. I just wanted to pass that on. That story is somewhat breaking. We have, let me just looking at the time here. Yeah, let's take a short break, and then we're going to wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking. So get your last second comments in, and we will be right back.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me, to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
Hi, this is Till, owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is the start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
An albino buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bus.
Day 1 of the National Glider Competition.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. You can see the snow coming down. Please be careful if you must go out But I would highly recommend. Wow, yeah, that's a bike. A couple people on a bike out there. Please be safe out there. Okay, I wanted to mention this. President Trump has been working up to 12-hour days this month, according to non-public official logs the White House provided to the New York Post after the New York Times claimed there were signs of fatigue. Again, just highlighting the hypocrisy. The New York Times, the same people that tried to cover up Biden's decline for 4 years, now are trying to lie, fabricate about the president. The previously unpublished private narrative documents spanned 10 weekdays between November 12th and November 25th, the day the Times story was published. And they showed the president worked roughly 50-hour weeks, not counting any official duties that may have been performed on weekends. The White House made the rare decision to share the logs to counter the narrative that Trump is slowing with age, with the files instead showing him working longer hours than the average American as he overhauls trade and immigration policies, attempts to end the Russian-Ukrainian war, and spearhead the most significant construction at the White House in decades. The files also did not list unsolicited cell phone calls that he's known to answer early in the morning and late into the night, or his after-hours social media posts. And they go through each individual one. I don't think I need to go through all that. We know, we see, it's just like we weren't supposed to believe what we saw with our eyes when it came to Biden. Now we're not supposed to believe what we see with our eyes with Trump. James Carville, the Raging Cajun, urges Democrats to stop blanking around with cultural stuff if they want to win elections. Carville has repeatedly told Democrats there is a clear path to victory if they can simply put aside woke ideology and appeal to the rising tide of populism on both sides of politics. Oh, I agree with you. The viewer says Trump works 12 hours a day. Try more like 18. Yes, that is just the bare bones, the 12. That's not on top of his cell phone calls. It's not on top of other parts of his duty. That was just a basic kind of outline of his schedule given by the White House. But yeah, no, 12, I'm with you. This this viewer writes in, let's see, did I forget somebody here? Ken says, why would someone believe that Trump's decision to pardon Hernandez was a good thing? For me, I look at the past decisions of President Trump and the corrupt misinformation and outright lies that are consistent with the Democrats. I also know that there are many things that happen in the federal government that we rightly don't know about and shouldn't. In short, Trump consistently does things that I agree with. So since we need to trust someone, I trust that he is doing what is best for the country. Thank you, Ken. Viewer writes in, Biden didn't work 4 hours a day. No problem at all. Yes, they actually highlighted that as a positive thing at the time, if you recall, that he doesn't get fresh and up and at him until 8. And yeah, you're right. Carville said, go back to what Carville said, there's some ways you can attack it, but one of the things you can say, you can pay people more. And if you look at it, if you want to know the rage in this country since, let's say, 2009, the starting point, 2010, and you look at corporate profit growth and look at the real hourly wage growth, I'm just going to say that the economic system in the United States has got to change. And it's gone way too far in favoring old people, favoring savers, favoring homeowners, favoring all the stuff that and it's kind of screwed up the younger generation. I'm telling you, I would say the same thing to anybody. You better fix it or it's going to get fixed for you. And it's going to be ugly when it gets fixed for you. People are tired. Then he called out Democrats. I think the Democrats, as I pointed out in the piece, it is quit blanking around with all this cultural stuff and start talking about people's wages. Start talking about what we can do to protect people who are trying to make it, and particularly young people. It's just unbelievable. We're sitting there telling them how good they've got it made. Anyway, that does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Let me go through and thank all my guests. Thank you for all the comments, too, by the way, as always. But we thank Tom Sharp with Mannheim Steamroller. They're going to be at the Clemens Center tomorrow at 7:30. So do not miss that. Go online now to buy your tickets. Also, we want to thank our good friends at Corning Painted Post High School and their upcoming production of Irving Berlin's White Christmas the Musical, December 4th through the 6th, at 7 p.m. and December 7th at 2 p.m. So thank you so much to our guests. I know people, I've been doing a lot of just updating you this morning, haven't I? Also on tomorrow's program, Wade Jennings will be joining us. Wade Jennings is the grandson of Waylon Jennings. So that's Waylon Jennings' grandson, Wade Jennings, will be joining us. He's going to be performing in Hornell this Sunday. We'll find out all about it tomorrow. I almost forgot to mention this, but just quickly, Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard reports that on Saturday, December 6th, so this Saturday, deputies will host their annual Toys for Tots, Fill the Patrol Car, and Coats for Kids event at the Irwin and Hornell Walmart plazas. From 10 a.m. till noon, toys and children's coats will be collected for Steuben County children. The toys will be distributed to Steuben County children in need, and new or gently used coats are distributed to Steuben County school districts for children in need of cold weather clothing. So that is this Saturday. Fill the Toys for Tots, Fill the Patrol Car, and Coats for Kids from 10 a.m. till noon. Whew. There's a lot of events coming up this week, isn't there? We have to have the sheriff on, too. I think we've all been so busy, but we haven't had him on in a little while, so I'll get to work on that. But there's so many fun events getting us all into the Christmas spirit. As I said, please be careful out there this morning. If you out there plowing, thank you. We really appreciate that. Stay safe. But if you're on the roads, be careful. Make sure you take your time, because it is pretty nasty out there. So I would also call your business or organization to see if they are even open before going out in this. So please don't go out in it if you don't need to. And have a great day, everyone. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, starting at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox, we'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early. I look forward to it already.
Your tap water is delicious. I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system. What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants, it's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.